Star Wars, you're dirty. You're dirty, Star Wars, you're dirty. How you gonna end the episode like that? How you gonna end the episode like that? When the credits rolled, I legitimately thought it was a joke. I legitimately thought the credits was gonna roll, but then it's gonna pick right back up with the rest of the episode. Cause I'm like, we only halfway through. We ain't done nothing. Let me tell you, usually before I make a video, I have my notes down, have everything all plotted out and in the right order. So I'm not up here stuttering. But the way this episode ended, I just needed to come and just put it out there raw. Because I was watching this in the living room with the lights off on the big TV. And when this man floated down behind Osha, I was like, oh, shucks. And then this, and then this. Let me just tell you, I hate that we gotta wait a week to see the next part of this. But these Jedi do not stand a chance. These Jedi are not ready. The only thing I'm worried about, because I'm riding high right now. I'm riding high off the scene. But the only thing I'm worried about is the choreography. Because Star Wars lightsaber duel choreography has yet to live up to the masterful choreography of the prequels. And I've resigned myself to believe that it's gone. You know what? That was that era. And we just won't get that anymore. But if they can do it, in this episode, in this next episode, if they can actually do some Duel of the Fates, just an approximation of some of that type of choreography, just the speed and the ferocity, it just get somewhere close to that. My little nerd heart is going to grow 3 times as big. But outside of just that ending, even though it was a short episode, we did get some other morsels. We did get some more information that we got to talk about. The first thing we got to talk about is this lady. Because of this lady, I'm more and more convinced of my cover-up theory. I'm more and more convinced that by the end of this show, whatever encounters they have with the Sith are going to be covered up, and that's why in The Phantom Menace, the Jedi Council don't know about the Sith, because of this lady right here. Because every time she show up, she covering something up. When we saw her in the first episode, she was trying to cover something up.
If it were to become public that a former Jedi killed one of our own.
And when she in this episode, she's trying to, her only purpose in this show is a cover up. Just don't tell nobody.
We must alert the High Council.
The High Council.
My bonus is riding on this. Don't tell nobody. We're not supposed to have no incidents until next quarter. Don't tell nobody, because my bonus. But in all seriousness, it does seem like they're dropping the breadcrumbs with this character to be like, by the end of this, we're going to not let this become public, even to the rest of the Jedi, because we can't let anybody know that the Sith are still somewhere out there. Or we thought we handled it. You know what I'm saying? We thought that we got them. They're gone. So there's no point saying that they came back because we got them and they're gone, right? Whatever the excuse is, they keep dropping the breadcrumbs to lead us to the excuse, because every time she show up, cover it up. And the other thing this episode did is confirm for us what, we already knew, and that's the flashback that we saw last episode is incomplete. There are some things we didn't see, which to me is evident. And some people were like, how did they all die in the fire? I'm like, it's evident that they didn't. But, I think it was supposed to be subtle. So it wasn't supposed to make sense. And so we got some confirmation that the story is complete. What Osha saw, that perspective that we saw in the last episode, was incomplete. And some stuff Soul ain't saying. The prevailing theory is that the witches are dark side witches. And I don't think that that's accurate. I don't think they're dark side witches. I do think the Jedi killed those witches. I think that what we're going to find out is the Jedi found themselves in a position where they had to kill all the witches. But I think that it was whoever this dark side user is, manipulated the events and manipulated the situation so the witches were antagonized by the Jedi were antagonized by the witches. Each side thought the other side was something that they weren't, or that they shot first or whatever, and that created the conflict that ended with the witches dead. That's what I think happened. I think the Sith that's here was manipulating it all. The reason I think that is because I was watching Star Wars Explained, which is a great Star Wars channel and really good content, and they were talking about the fact that the facility that the witches were in seemed like or could be a prototype cloning facility. So they were trying to use magic with the machinery to create the twins. And that's where the explosion came at, trying to cover up the machinery so the Jedi didn't get their hands on what was going on the technology there. That to me is an interesting theory, and that to me is a motivation for the Sith to be pulling the strings the way that they are. And I do think that the Sith is influencing more of the events than we see currently. The one thing I did like about this episode, and it's more my fault than anything else, it's not really a critique of the episode because it was my expectations. Because when the show was coming out, we all had our expectations of what the show was going to be. And my expectations, when you call it the Acolyte, when you say there's going to be Sith, when you say it's going to focus on dark side users, my initial implication is that we're going to actually follow someone on the dark side, either their descent, their rise on the dark side. We're going to see them embrace the dark side, and that's who we're going to follow. That's going to be our protagonist. That is what I anticipated when the show started. And when you introduce Mai, that's who I think that we are. And so this episode, when Mai's like, actually, no, I'm good. After killing 2 Jedi, I'm just going to be like, no, my heart's not really in it because my sister's alive. Which I understand that the sister being alive does recontextualize things. And so that's really what I'm saying. My complaint isn't with the story because they're telling the story that they were going to tell anyway. And they're telling what I consider to be a good story so far. My issue is that I feel like in the anticipation of this show, that's not what I was anticipating. That's not what I was getting my mind prepared to watch. And so now I have to like reorganize my mind and reframe my perspective on the show so I can watch the story that they're trying to tell me and enjoy that story. So it's not a problem. It's not a fault of the show. It might be a little bit of fault of the marketing. But when May was like, nope, I'm good. It was like, I just want to see somebody go to the dark side and actually stay on the dark side. That's all I want. And the last thing we got to talk about is the identity of the Sith. Because who is this guy? And I feel like the obvious guess has always been the sidekick. I'm hoping that the clues that they've been dropping are a misdirect. I'm hoping that it's a red herring because at this point they're making it a little too obvious that it's supposed to be him. To the point where it's almost I would hate for it to be him at this point because I'm like that can't be a big twist. It can't be. You can't expect us to be surprised by that because what it feels like when you watch a murder mystery, it feels like a Scream movie. It feels like the whole movie they've been telling you it's this person just to be like, actually it's this person over here. That's what all of this feels like. So I'm hoping that's what this is, but. Because if it is the sidekick, I'm just like, what? Okay. But shoot, that was all. It was a short episode. It was a quick episode. What did you think about the episode? How did you feel about it? What did you pick up? Were there any little hints or Easter eggs that you picked up? And what are you excited for now going forward? Are you excited for this fight? Are you excited for him to be revealed as who he is? Who do you think he is? Do you think he's the sidekick? Do you think he's somebody else? What are you revealing? How did you feel about May reverting, not back to the light side, but just not being after the Sith anymore? What do you think? And let me know and we can get into it. This is the show I can't wait to talk about. So let me know and we'll get into it and I'll catch you guys next time.